In a sneak peek for an upcoming episode of Chrisley Knows, Best fans learn how Todd Chrisley really feels about Grayson's future. Keep reading to find out about this and more. Today, October 27, the Chrisley Knows Best YouTube shared a clip from an upcoming episode. The trailer begins with Savannah Chrisley doing a photo shoot with her teenage brother Grayson. The Sassy by Savannah creator is standing by a table displaying sneakers and shooting photos from her phone. Grayson is posing on a large boulder. In a confessional segment, Savannah Chrisley gives Grayson some advice. She shares that she learned from their dad that you gotta strike when the iron's hot. Grayson's big sister goes on to tell him that his iron is hot. Then, Grayson warns his sister that if she starts acting like their father, he's going to have to fire her. Is Todd Chrisley's youngest son paying Savannah to do something for him? It's hard to tell. Savannah isn't the only one that's in on whatever Grayson Chrisley has going on. Chase and Elliot announced their arrival at the photo shoot as models. The duo is wearing new shoes that they found in Nanny Faye's house. When Nanny tells them that the shoes are Todd's, Chase blacks out and steals them. TV show's Ace recently reported that Todd confirms that Chase is a freaking clothes klepto. Concerningly, Grayson looks puzzled because he recognizes the shoes as two pairs he just sold. Grayson's big brother tries to assure him that maybe it's just a coincidence. However, the young entrepreneur isn't so sure. So the whole crew heads over to Nanny Faye's to investigate what's going on with all the shoes. Once they get to Nanny Faye's, they discover a pile of boxes. Savannah confirms that they're all from Grayson, while Elliot advises that it's where he got his new shoes from. As the pieces of the puzzle start to come together, Todd Chrisley comes busting in. He tells the kids they're so loud they could wake the dead and reminds them that Nanny is sick. As the kids point out all the boxes of shoes, Todd chimes in and says that he forgot to take them to the post office. But something still isn't adding up. Grayson Chrisley calls out his dad. So Todd Chrisley confesses to buying a few pairs of shoes. Then, Todd Chrisley explains that he was trying to help Grayson because things weren't going according to plan. Mature for his age, Grayson tells his dad that he doesn't need to bail him out. Ultimately, Todd Chrisley had good intentions, but they seem to have backfired on him. What do you think about Todd trying to bail out Grayson Chrisley? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure to come back to TV show's Ace for more Chrisley Knows Best news. Don't forget the Chrisleys have a new time. Tune into USA Network Thursday night at 8:30/7:30 for a new episode of Chrisley Knows Best. The glare of the spotlight has never been kind to the Chrisley family, and as the patriarch of the opulent reality dynasty remains behind bars, speculation around the fate of his youngest son, Grayson, has reached a fever pitch. Once the golden boy of Chrisley Knows Best, Grayson now stands at a personal crossroads. The question echoing among fans and critics alike: has Todd Chrisley quietly stepped back from shaping Grayson's future? In the gilded days of their USA Network fame, Grayson Chrisley was seen as the affable, smart, slightly awkward teenager who often served as comedic relief amidst the drama of his flamboyant family. But behind the scenes of the picture-perfect Southern life was a complicated web of legal woes, crumbling trust, and an uncertain path forward. With Todd's incarceration on charges of bank fraud and tax evasion, the family's once unshakable image has unraveled. Now, all eyes are on Grayson, not as the next generation of reality royalty, but as a young man left to navigate a world his father no longer controls. The signs of Todd stepping back, or being forced to, started subtly. Social media posts from Grayson became more sporadic, less curated, and noticeably devoid of the polished family unity that once defined the Chrisley brand. He began distancing himself from the bubble of fame that raised him, pivoting toward more personal, low-profile interests. While the world speculated about his potential entry into college sports or even a rebranded solo show, no firm path emerged. And behind the scenes, whispers grew louder. Without Todd's guiding hand, Grayson's future was no longer part of the family's carefully orchestrated narrative. At first glance, some might chalk this up to growing pains. Grayson, now in his late teens, is naturally stepping into adulthood, a time of independence, exploration, and identity shifts. But in the Chrisley world, independence never came without a camera crew, a management contract, or a storyline. For Grayson to suddenly recede from the brand's orbit raised questions. Had Todd intentionally left him to fend for himself, or was the decision mutual, spurred by the overwhelming burden of carrying a fractured family legacy? Some insiders suggest that Todd, even from prison, continues to exert influence over his family. His wife, Julie, also serving time, has reportedly maintained a protective eye on their children. But Grayson, always the quiet observer rather than the instigator, may no longer be willing to live out the script others wrote for him. The events of the past 2 years have reportedly hardened him, altering his perspective on fame, loyalty, and what it means to live an authentic life. For a young man once trained to smile on cue and sell the ideal of Southern charm, the loss of direction may feel less like abandonment and more like liberation. Still, not everyone sees this as a positive evolution. Critics of the Chrisley family argue that Grayson, caught in the wake of his parents' downfall, has been left adrift at a critical time. Without the financial scaffolding and media machine that propped up the family's success, some believe Grayson risks fading into the background, another child star swallowed by the aftermath of scandal. They point to his lack of college plans, the absence of endorsement deals, and his declining public appearances as signs of a young man without a roadmap. Others, however, see the exact opposite. They view Grayson's retreat from the spotlight as a calculated step toward reclaiming a normal life. In shedding the persona forced upon him by years of reality TV, he may finally be discovering his own voice, one that isn't filtered through the expectations of producers, sponsors, or a controlling father. If Todd truly has bailed on guiding Grayson's future, perhaps it's because he no longer can, or because Grayson no longer wants him to. Interestingly, Savannah Chrisley, the eldest daughter who has taken on a more prominent role in the public eye since their parents' sentencing, has remained tight-lipped about her brother's long-term plans. While she has taken guardianship of their younger sibling Chloe and occasionally speaks about family resilience, her omission of Grayson's trajectory has not gone unnoticed. This silence may suggest a deliberate choice to give her brother space, or it may reflect the deeper family schism that even the most loyal fans have only begun to suspect. The emotional toll of public scandal is rarely linear. For Grayson, the intersection of adolescence, legal battles, and media scrutiny has likely created a complex internal world, one filled with questions his father can no longer answer. Todd, once the master architect of the Chrisley empire, is now confined both physically and legally. From prison, he has limited means to steer his son's course, even if he wanted to. And perhaps that's the crux of it. Maybe Todd has realized that the best thing he can do is let go. Whether Todd's absence in Grayson's recent decisions is a choice or a consequence remains unclear. Some believe that Todd's personality would never allow for total detachment, especially when it comes to shaping his children's lives. Others argue that the gravity of his situation minus 23 years in federal prison has finally forced a reckoning. The illusion of control has shattered, and in its place, Grayson may finally be stepping into his own narrative. What that narrative looks like is still unfolding. Will he emerge as a quiet force, pursuing a life of purpose away from the cameras? Will he return to the public stage on his own terms, reimagining the Chrisley legacy through his own lens? Or will he continue to drift, searching for meaning in the shadows of a family that once demanded perfection? One thing is certain. Grayson's future is no longer a subplot in someone else's story. For years, he was cast as the innocent bystander, the sweet kid in a chaotic house of mirrors. Now, the script has been discarded, and the cameras, at least for now, have stopped rolling. The world may be waiting to see whether Grayson can rise above the noise, but perhaps he's not interested in rising at all. Perhaps he's simply trying to live If Todd Chrisley has indeed bailed on directing his youngest son's future, whether by force or choice, the consequence may be both a tragedy and a blessing. A tragedy in the sense of lost guidance during a pivotal time, but a blessing in the possibility of true autonomy. Grayson has lived under the weight of a family name that symbolized luxury, laughter, and ultimately loss. As he steps out from behind that legacy, the opportunity to build something entirely new lies before him, one not tainted by false perfection or legal downfall. Whether the world gets a front-row seat to that transformation remains to be seen. But for the first time, that decision might belong solely to Grayson. And perhaps that's the most powerful departure from the Chrisley way yet.